You're listening to The People's Pitch, the official podcast of Minneapolis City Soccer Club, brought to you by footballstadiumprints.com. Let's start the show.
And as I talked about just a couple minutes ago, as Joe Watt stands over this one, he appears to be the one taking the penalty here. This is a huge confidence booster if you're Duluth.
Worst case scenario for City right here.
And it stopped! Yes! And it stopped!
Totally redeems himself.
Matt Elder redeeming himself. Oliver with the right foot. The shot is goal!
Oliver!
Justin Oliver will break the scoreless tie. And it is 1-0 Minneapolis City. Is Hutton now on the offense with the left foot.
Goal!
And it is now 2-0 Minneapolis City.
Good finish.
Nick Hutton taking his quick victory lap.
Good day, soccer friends. This is the People's Pitch Podcast, the official podcast of your Minneapolis City Soccer Club. I am your host, John. With me, as always, is the voice of Minneapolis City Game Day, the Nate Morales. Nate, the soccer stove is heating up, and our lackluster attempt to keep the show lights on during the offseason with whatever content we can figure out and whatever cadence we can go on is being pushed aside as we're starting to turn all the lights on, with topics to discuss, getting back to a regular coverage for everyone's favorite, locally focused, supporter-driven lower league soccer club. So how you doing?
Click, click. All the lights are getting turned on at good old Winter Park, but the heat's not getting turned on, which always makes it fun.
Yeah. Oh, at least it's not snowing inside, I guess. It's not snowing anywhere right now. So
that's true. Is it snowing anywhere in the world? It's hard to imagine.
Yeah. Yeah.
John, today we've got a little city alumni news. We've got a little kit reveal news, but the big news is that we're keeping our eyes on the future for this show, just like last show. We're going to be joined by Minneapolis City midfielder and the new Minneapolis City U19 coach, Scotty Heinen. I'm excited to dive into this one in particular, so let's get going. It's going to be a good one.
Well, we are way overdue in calling this out, Nate. But a couple weeks back, there was a lot of buzz on social media coming from our cousins across the river. Minnesota United was well into their preseason efforts out west in Arizona, and our very own Louis Basanvi was an invitation to camp, which is exciting news in its own right. Like what a journey he has been on, from being cut by that organization multiple times to playing with us, and really showing that the development of high level local talent might take a few swings for a professional club to kind of latch onto. But we get into that on a whole nother day. But the week has been given his opportunity with MC2, and now Minnesota United 2. And that roster is a mess in itself. They have 4 guys that are on that roster right now as they're trying to formulate that team. But anyways, he was invited to the camp to train with the big guys. And like I said, it's a huge development for his professional soccer career. But it was also huge, as you saw. There's been like a de-investment. I don't even know if that's a word, but I'm making it up.
It's a good one.
A de-investment in other high-level local soccer talent, like specifically the release of Emmanuel Iwe from Minnesota United as an organization, and a host of other local products that have been let go. But there seems to be a reinvestment. See how I did there?
Yeah, I like it.
A reinvestment in some of the talent. Like you look at Caden Clark coming back into the mix. You look at what's his name, the defender. I forget his name. There's Romanishan, the defender that was called in from the twos as well, that has local ties.
You're talking about Padelford?
Paddleford, whatever you want to call him. So there's been a returning over of the soil. It looks like, I'll get into that in a second, of younger local talent, which you should have already owned in the first place, but whatever, that is a thing. So props to our guy of the week, though. The buzz was not like solely based on his call up into camp. It was based on what he did with his opportunity, and that is score goals. So you look at the weekend in itself. himself, we know he scores goals. In the club's first preseason match versus Montreal, I believe it was Montreal. I didn't watch it. I don't even know if it was televised. Loic did what we know he does best. He found the back of the net during a second half cameo appearance, which ended up being the club's lone goal on the day in a 1-1 a match that ended 1-1. So here's my discussion points, Nate. We know that Loic does what Loic does well. He finds ways to score. He scores goals in volume. He scores big goals. He's just constantly has a nose for it, and you need that in a team. With the washout of the old regime with that club, are we finally seeing they're at a stage in their club development, the 7th year of a 3-year plan, where youth, like Loic in particular, when they have the foundation of talent, getting elevated, and will they be given an actual chance to showcase to help the club, or is this the same old smoke and mirror play to make people excited about local talent, to think that the club is actually going to develop and utilize its younger, talented, yet less experienced players to help them win games, or even just elevate their profile to use them as a selling point for profit? It is Minnesota United, Nate. And this year, I'm taking the gloves off with them, by the way. Okay.
I can't believe you hadn't in the past.
I know.
Usually I'm the one that's a little more light on the criticism.
I should be commended because, in all honesty, it is a shit show over there. It's bad.
You should be commended. You've been exhibiting the utmost in restraint.
I know. So it's done. I'm done with it now, and I hope it will trend out in the right direction. But if it doesn't, I'm not going to hold back anymore. So my last question, Nate, is Minnesota United finally going to be doing something right for a change with young talent?
Okay, so I think your question has a few points, or a few parts. The first is you're asking, right? Like, is this club finally at a spot where they can use youth talent, locally developed talent, as the foundation of like an MNUFC 2 squad, and finally be able to elevate them, homegrown players into the first team? And I think that you gotta hope that they're at least thinking about that, because like you said, they kind of cut ties with most of that Minnesota United 2 squad. Did you see I sent it to you, that Instagram post where they did the schedule reveal, and it's like there are 4 guys in a room and 2 of them are Minneapolis City players. And it is what they failed to mention is that is pretty much the entirety of the MNUFC 2 team right now. But I hope that, just like you, that this is the start of something where they're gonna start to give local guys a little bit more of a look. The problem is, as you know and I know, is that they just don't have the youth like structure.
Well, they do have the youth structure. That's the thing. Like, they
but but I mean, this is the thing. They're not pulling those guys up.
But like, so that's where we go to the shame on them situation. Like, they have, like you've talked about, like the formula, the script, whatever, it's out there. Other clubs are doing it. Why aren't we doing it? We've talked about it at length, but like, they have the setup. It just is like there was no investment in the setup. Like, we know from our knowledge with folks tied to the academy setup that have come over, or we were friendly with them. They told us, like, over the course of 4 seasons, the budget was $1 million and it never grew. Like, how, in what business do you not grow, even if you're not turning a profit, to try to invest in making a profit, which is selling players, or, selling players, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, they have it, like the infrastructure is there. They just don't give a shit about it.
Maybe.
And now they're like, hey, guess what? We probably should give a shit about this.
Yeah. I mean, I think in the short term, what we might have seen, or what we're seeing in preseason, is you've got the head coach, the interim head coach, coached Loic, coached Rory, coached these guys, coached Devin, right? So like, why not give him a look in preseason? Why not? He knows what they need to do to develop. Why not help that out? So that's good in the short term. But I think in the long term, what you're asking is like, is this new regime, you're hoping, you're positing, like this new regime could be starting the the transformation of this club to one that is actually going to develop younger, talented players and elevate their profile and sell them for profit. And you'd hope so. That's the model, right? You'd hope that they will be doing that. And I think that this new guy, with his experience at New York City,
the City Group,
the City Group, like he's got to be familiar with the formula. And it's not like it's not a secret sauce, John. Like it's out there. You look at what Dallas
it's
has
been done for hundreds of years across the globe.
Well, and I'm just saying within the MLS, right? Where it's like, how do you, which had been a retirement league, as they say, right? It's like, how do you focus on youth? And it's like Dallas showed you how to do it. KC showed you how to do it. New York City showed you how to do it. Miami, even a little bit, when you think about that kid they drafted that they are trying to send to England, right? It's proven that Europe can want.
What a mess that was.
MLS players. I know.
As MLS as it gets. The person didn't hit send, they hit save on the fucking paperwork. Oh, that is just classic.
But I think when you think about, like, when you look at the players just in New York that developed, when you look like Joe Scally, right?
Yep.
Really successful abroad, or at KC, you're thinking about like Gianluca Busio, right, in Italy, and some of these other players that they've sent. Dallas has sent a number of all these guys that Dallas has sent.
Philadelphia.
Yep, Philadelphia, right? All these guys that they have developed and sent overseas. Like, that approach, I think, to me, does wonders for, first of all, the club. And it makes you feel like that's an MLS club that at least gets it, even if they're on field, even if everyone makes the playoffs and whatever. Like, at least like, oh, this is a team that cares about soccer. But it also does wonders for like this clumsy Major League Soccer narrative that the best players from the United States start here. It's like, yeah, okay, cool. Well, European teams are buying. So I would love it if Minnesota United gets on board with that and really is investing in a revamp of its developmental commitments. But here's a
follow-up question. As a Minnesota United supporter, not you in particular, but the royal you.
Y'all,
are you okay with the club maybe transforming into a build and sell club, but not win championships?
You know what? It's like we're not winning. We're not winning championships,
right?
You know, I think what people are hungry for.
We were contenders, but we're in this model of elevating young talent, selling it for profit, and reinvesting in young talent and making that our business. And then, like, every now and then, maybe we contend for a title, but we don't win it.
Why not both? Look at Cincinnati.
But my question is, maybe we don't get it.
Yeah,
we don't win one.
And I think if you're a
that.
Minnesota fan, you're okay with not winning a championship, just like a blanket statement across all sports.
That's pretty much part and parcel here in Minnesota.
But I think what people are hungry for is, and I should say I know, just from talking to other season ticket holders, talking to other fans, people are hungry for like just some semblance of a direction out of this team. Like, what is the philosophy? What are we trying to do? Because that was the entire last season. It's just like, what are we doing? You're bringing Grey Goose back? Cool. Oh, you cut him. You're bringing all these players in, and it's like, wow, you signed Timo Pukki, and it's like, but then why? Like, Reynoso doesn't show up, and he just jumps right into the roster, and people were. The problem is people were excited about that. People let that slide so easily because we were so desperate for something to happen on field.
I can tell you this, in my day job, if I don't show up for 3 weeks after my job starts, there is no massive social media campaign celebrating the fact that I showed up.
Yeah. So I think what I'm saying, John, is like, if the focus goes in the next couple of years, and maybe it probably won't, because that's not great marketing. But if the focus goes to, hey, look at, we've got the hottest young talent from the area, and we're going to put them on the field, and you get to see guys like Loic grow up and score goals. You get to see guys like Caden Clark, show up and show out. I feel like that is at least something for fans to get behind, and rather than like cheering for Will Trapp to get another yellow card within the first 15 minutes. Like, I'd rather cheer for a team that I'm invested in that way. And they probably lose than cheering for a team that we're spending a bunch of money and we're not winning anyway. So I don't even know what we're trying to do.
What you're asking for is, wouldn't it be cool if Minnesota had a soccer team that consistently focuses on young talent and giving them a platform to succeed at that level or move them on to a higher level?
Weird.
So you can follow them and get excited about the individual player and not just the ownership or front office of a large sports organization. That is a weird concept that I don't think anyone is doing right now.
Yeah, let's put a pin on that, and we'll probably come back to that topic later in the show.
Yeah, that's weird. That is weird. I really wish someone figured this out.
John, in other news that you could see coming from light years away, Minneapolis City revealed its new 2024 away kit last week. We're calling it the Friends of the Feather kit. It was one of 5, I think, maybe 4, I think 5 kits that the members voted on late last year. And the Friends of the Feather kit, it's a nice sleek black kit that's covered in this pattern of pink feathers. And I say you can see this coming because the kit matches up with the winning scarf design that had already been voted on and announced. So, once you see the kits that are offered up and how they pretty much match the scarves, like they were all obviously designed in tandem, I was a little bummed because that vote felt like a foregone conclusion. There were, I would say 2, maybe 3 other options that I would have liked to see instead. Like just the retro looking Lakers kit comes to mind. I think that cool vertical multi-stripe option that was a little bit, I don't know, kind of Crystal Palace-y, on the black with the cool paint.
Almost like
the paint swatches. That would be sweet. I guess my question is what are your thoughts on the vote and on the winner?
Well, I'm here for it. Honestly, I like it.
I don't hate the kit or anything. I'm just saying.
I hear you though. I really like the toss back Minneapolis City Lakers option that didn't win. But as you know, and everyone around the club knows, we tend to surprise people and bring back, we'll call them in air quotes, non-winning designs for cup competitions or just to make them because they're cool. So there might be some that pop up. Maybe we get back to, maybe some futures kits now that we have 2 teams, that maybe the futures team in the future rolls out another option that came in second or third or something like that. But anyways, I like it. As far as the selection goes, it's different. I mean, you mentioned it coincides with the winning scarf design, but I say this is different because if you look at the landscape of kits across the globe, the color palette, the feathers, the pink accents around the cuffing, it's all unique, right? Like you don't see a team rolling out like that. I mean, maybe some of the stuff that Forward Madison is doing with like the flamingo, like animal accents to their jerseys and things like that. But then again, that's like
psychedelic shit. Yeah.
Yeah. Like again, they're trying new things and you haven't seen some of that stuff before either. I like when they added the QR code into their jersey that you could scan it and then you could buy someone a beer. Another person who bought a ticket to the game, you could scan a player's jersey or a replica jersey, and then you could like select a seat number and like buy them a beer if they were of age. Like shit like that is super cool, right? So
wait, what? Say that again?
You could scan a QR code on, like, say a player got close to you on the sidelines. You could whip your phone out. You could scan. Remember, I said phone.
Yeah, like if they're doing a throw in or something right in front of you.
Yeah, or warming up,
mm-hmm.
and running by, or standing and stretching, or substitutions going in.
So you could whip it out.
You could whip it out. You can go to jail. No, you could pull your phone out. You could scan the QR code, and then you could select someone of age in a different seat or another season ticket holder that and you could buy them a beer, and then they could go to the beer hall area and pick up their beer.
John, this is we're advertisers, we're marketers, so I'm going to geek out on this. There was a winning concept. I think Corona did it that was called like Jersey Pay. I'm not sure if it actually worked, if it was real, because I know some of these things that go to con or can or however you want to say it are kind of like sometimes a little fluffed up, but like you're the like person that came, the beer person that came around could like scan the patch, like the crest on your kit, and then that would be your wallet. Like that would be cool too. There's tons of stuff, sweet shit you can do.
Yeah,
Anyway.
but what I'm getting at is like they're trying their own things, and we obviously have always been trying our own things and hitting on like 99% of them.
Yeah.
So I think that this shirt's going to look really sharp. I think like from a photography perspective, you got to believe that like Dan Mick is geeking out on the photos he's going to take this summer.
Yeah.
With those jerseys. But I'm just a little. Here's my only disappointment. My only disappointment is that us as a club did not somehow tie this kit into former Major League Baseball pitcher Randy Johnson, because the design looks like what the aftermath was when, like, about a decade ago, he hit a bird with a pitch in a preseason game at like 97 miles an hour and just fucking exploded it. And there were like feathers and blood everywhere.
The exploding pigeon kit.
Yeah, I mean, like that is, I mean, that in itself is a horrible thing to have happen, but it's like, that is a once in a lifetime situation to ever have happened, that a bird is going to fly at the exact second a baseball pitcher is going to throw a pitch and explode right in front of a catcher. But like that, I think we could have maybe capitalized on tying that in somehow.
John, I'm going to make you feel old.
Okay.
That was in 2001.
Yeah. I mean, hey. Okay, I'll add an S to our notes here. Decades ago.
Anyway.
Regardless, if you have seen the kit launch though, with like that pitch flying in and then like the catchers wearing the jersey.
What an animation. That would be sweet.
Like it had blown back onto his jersey. Like that would have been cool. But anyways, we don't have the marketing budgets that some folks in this area do from a sports perspective. So we did the best we could.
If anyone knows Randy Johnson, give us a call. Maybe he'll make an appearance. Maybe he'll make a halftime appearance. Okay,
I won't keep belaboring this, but I will let everyone in on our weekly commercial calls that we have. And like with the club, and commercial is everything from merchandise to what we do here on the podcast, game day, that kind of stuff. We did talk about trying to get Randy Johnson on Cameo to do something when we very early on. And then it literally was a task in our project management software for me to go find other celebrities that have bird connections. And I'm still doing the research. So maybe something does come out like that. It hasn't given legs, but we tried, folks, but we didn't succeed.
Well, we can always hold out hope.
Yeah.
Along with the reveal of the new kit, John, though, came the reveal of our new kit sponsor, which I'm also excited about. It's our new beer sponsor in Shell's Brewery. Most people might know Shell's as the people that make Grain Belt Premium, Grain Belt Northeast. But I'd say, their seasonal offerings like Snowstorm are real sneaky good options.
Their Oktoberfest is good too.
Yeah, they fly under most people's radar. The Shell's Oktoberfest event is awesome.
I've gone to it multiple years. I've been going camping every late September with like a couple buddies to New Ulm, and we camp, and then on that Saturday we go to the Oktoberfest.
Yeah.
So it's a great event. It's the biggest one, I believe, in Minnesota. That's out there. But yeah, like that too.
Yeah. I mean, I love a good beer sponsorship, so I'm really happy to have a legacy brewery like Shell's on board. This is good, and sounds like they're real nice people. Yeah.
I haven't had any involvement in that relationship, but from what I hear, I believe it's their vice president is now a Minneapolis season ticket holder, and it brings his family, and has really bought into what we do, and so we're super pleased to have them in the stable of connected brands with ours, and I mean, I had proposed, like, why are we not getting into the seltzer space? But then everyone looked at me like I was a dumb idiot. So anyways, super happy to have Shells though.
Yeah.
2 weeks ago, we broke news on this here show about the shakeup in the leadership of the Futures program, with newly minted coach Josh Roy joining us and talking about his takeover from Jeremiah Johnson on the bench from what we're calling now is the U21 squad in the top division of the UPSL. But that is not all, folks. This week, the club announced with the creation of a U19 group set to charge into the UPSL's second division. This summer, we have brought on another new face to the impressive Crow coaching roster, and that gentleman is with us tonight. A member of the Murder already on the playing side, and the second in charge for the men's program at Gustavus. Scotty Heinen will be taking over the head coaching duties for the U19s this summer, and we are pleased to welcome him on this inaugural appearance on the People's Pitch. Scotty, welcome to the show, man.
Wow, that's a pretty good intro. I don't know if I can do anything to top that.
We'll see. You've got like 9 months to figure it out.
Yeah. Next time you come on, we'll do like the embarrassment of like finding out like all of like your accolades and things going back to like grade school soccer. And then you have to sit there and listen to it. And you're like, this sounds impressive, but also quite embarrassing.
I don't know. Sounds like a good trip down memory lane.
It definitely is. It definitely is. So, Scotty, many folks that for whatever reason spend their free time listening to this show know you already from your stops with the I'll call it excitingly historic undefeated UPSL MC2 squad a few years ago. What a wild ride that summer was. And most recently, your stop with the first team bunch in the USL 2. But why don't you give the listeners and members of the club a little bit more about you? Tell us your background, where you're from, your soccer journey playing, and now you're shifting the coaching ranks.
Yeah, so I grew up in Aurora, Illinois, down over in Chicago suburbs, and through kind of a weird process made it to Gustavus and kind of worked my way through the ranks. Played a bit here and there, made a bit of my name for myself, and then started to move towards City and getting involved in the mix there. Then after City, my next kind of big playing was over in Germany. I played semi-professional with a couple clubs over there and in some of the lower divisions, but had a great time being able to travel and experience the game and the culture around that in Europe. And pretty recently received an invitation to join the Gustavus coaching staff, and it was one that I couldn't decline. And kind of with that, coming back to Minnesota and being able to rejoin with the Crows, and now here looking at a future of a U19 summer.
Nice. So in the article that was pushed out by the club this week, you talked a little bit about your full intro to the club being kind of an interesting one, basically like finally giving into the Matt Gibson peer pressure to come along for like some killer open soccer. I can only imagine what that conversation was like. But correct me if I'm wrong, was that the COVID year when we did the 77 league?
Yep, that was exactly that.
Man, yeah, my mind's still sharp in my soon to be old age here. So was that the first that you heard about the club? And if so, awesome. If not, like, what did you really know about us from before you joined up and got in a sketchy van with Matt Gibbons?
Well, so Charlie Adams was my assistant coach my first year at Gustavus, and second year actually. He was with us for a bit, and so I knew he played for this club in Minneapolis that was in the lower league setup, and I wasn't really familiar with it. And then I don't know, I'm a guy that loves soccer, so Gibby was like, "Hey, playing in this league, and my team needs an extra guy. You want to come?" I was like, "Oh, absolutely." When is it? 10 p.m. on a random Thursday or something. It's like, oh, okay, great. So that was my next couple weeks, eating dinner at midnight, getting back from the hour drive in St. Peter. And it was funny, but honestly, it was like I went the first time, and I remember Jonah was calling me the wrong name, but I still had an absolute blast. And so I just kept coming back.
You were driving up from St. Peter for that with Gibby? That's crazy.
Yeah.
And I believe your team won, right? Won
Yep.
the whole thing. Yeah.
Yep.
I forget what the
Yellow
names were,
team.
Nate, what were the names? They were all like about like Minnesota musicians or
Did
something.
you have?
I forget what those were. But anyways,
I'm not sure what our team name was. We just call ourselves Yellow Team, and we're proud of it. So
Well, and that worked. You guys won.
I've
So
never
you
seen
moved-
Steve so mad than I did in that 7v7 league.
Oh yeah, I had to play 2 weeks of it, and that was when I realized like no longer am I playing competitive soccer. Like
That was
just
it?
like it was too quick for me. Like I'm not fit enough to play that. I played like 8 minutes each game, and I was like, I am the liability here because I couldn't make my decisions fast enough because everyone got on me so quick, and I was like, I can't do this. I'm tarnishing my reputation. So, anyways, enough about me. You move on from essentially your trial period with the club to getting a full roster invite with MC2 for, like I said, that magical undefeated season. That led to winning multiple trophies. So great first season with the club, and then a trip to the final 16 in the national tournament. Tell us a little bit about that experience with MC2 and playing under Coach Bronte.
Yeah, that was honestly a lot of fun. It was kind of the makeup was a lot of other Mayak guys and guys playing in the area. Obviously, a few here and there, but it was fun to kind of have I don't know, I'd say we had a solid group of 10 and then a mixture of guys that were either would play with us, score a bunch of goals, and then get brought up to the first team, or just kind of come here and there. A little bit unorganized, but I don't know. Pronti set us up well every game, and we honestly had a blast. And those that were there week in and week out were big fans. MC2 was a blast.
I mean, the final home game of the MC2 era with the penalty kick shootout win over I believe it was the Iowa Raptors.
Yeah.
For me is like one of the defining moments in the club. I mean, it's like one of those like memories you make, or we make collectively as players and staff and fans together. That it's like you don't forget that.
Yeah, it was amazing. Yeah, so much fun.
So you mentioned something that I was going to bring up here before I kick it over and let Nate ask some real questions. You mentioned that you left us after the season, after that MC2 season, for another peer pressure job mission with Matt Gibbons, and you headed over to my old stomping grounds for opportunities in Germany. Tell us a little bit more about like the clubs that you played for, and like the level, and like what that experience really was like abroad, and maybe what you took away from it after you left.
Yeah, I think I actually might have peer pressured Gibby into that one, but so we might be even there. But yeah, no, one of our buddies at Gustavus was from Germany, and his parents were nice enough to kind of help us in the initial period, and his dad was connected with a few clubs, so he got us involved, and we just started playing wherever we could get, and we started our first season with this club called SV Germania Eicherscheid.
Oh, wow.
Over in the western part of Germany. And then spent half a season there, and then had the opportunity to move up. So we kept climbing and played with a team called Breinisch, SV Breinisch. A bit higher level, and we both had our struggles, but games here and there, and trips to Rome, trips to Barcelona, definitely filled a couple gaps.
Nice.
So we definitely enjoyed our time and enjoyed our soccer.
So is it true that Matt Gibbons, and this again is not about me or Matt Gibbons, it's about you, I promise we'll get there. Is it true that he didn't he play like semi-professional basketball while he was there?
Yeah, actually one of our teammates was playing on like a 4th division basketball league, and Gibby played in Minneapolis with guys that are in the NBA now, so he came in and was one of the best players there.
That's cool. I saw that one of those guys came back to Minneapolis Academy recently. Anyway, how long did it take you to learn how to pronounce the team you played for?
A long time. Yeah, it was a while. I might have even said it wrong again. I hope nobody's listening. There
was like a similar word in both of them. Was that the region that you were in or the city?
Yeah, so SV is, I say SV because I actually can't pronounce the foul part of it, but it's Sportverein, which basically means sport club. Yeah, all right. That's the best I got.
Scotty, you might know, there's a Stevie Wonder song that we play every home game after games, Living for the City. And I think between Futures training every week Eventually, you'll have to select and coach the U19s. Couple that with joining training sessions yourself in order to secure a roster spot on the USL2 team. I can't think of a guy that's ever been living for the city more than you this year, man. How are you juggling all this on top of your day job at Gustavus, where I'm sure you're traveling to showcases? I know you were just at one this last weekend. There's probably more to come, and doing the recruiting thing.
Yeah, I mean, so first of all, a lot of that U19 group is involved with guys we know, a mixture of, guys we're recruiting, guys we're taking a look at. So
that helps.
Yep. Yeah, it's cool to kind of double dip a little bit there, but also like the people we're playing against, in terms of what the group might be, you never know who's around, and the more you connect yourself in the Minneapolis soccer scene, the more coaches you meet, the more, who knows, there's always some connection somewhere. And then, in terms of recruiting, honestly, summer is a bit of an off period for us. And most of these clubs, these high school age clubs are not playing and looking for other opportunities like the UPSL to go get more minutes in. So it's honestly one of those where it's beneficial both ways.
Huh. That makes sense. Are you going to, how much, I mean, so the recruiting thing is kind of covered off on, but really you are going to be doing you're going to be living at Minneapolis City, across hopefully both teams. That's got to be an exciting way to spend your summer. Especially with the guys like John and others that you've gotten to know so well.
Exactly. No, I'm super excited. I mean, I've loved soccer and have since I can remember. So until that fades away, I'll be inserting myself in whatever city thing I can. Nice.
As someone that has played for what was at the time the younger team in the U23 team, what did you learn from that summer that you can impart on these U19s as they look to establish themselves as players in the organization and they begin to climb the ladder, hopefully all to the USL2 team one day?
Yeah, that's a great question. I love that. I think it's a bit of a forfeit yourself to the program. I know one thing, I always had high aspirations to do whatever. And being on the second team, it was tough sometimes to look on the other side of the curtain in Champions Hall and not be with the first team group. But essentially what made our second team group so together was that we bought into each other rather than the prospect of being somewhere else. So, I mean, there obviously be opportunities up with the U21 team and obviously, hopefully U21 guys going up to the first team. So if we can keep building that ladder, that's great. But also you got to know as a player, you got to commit yourself to what you're at the moment.
Yeah. Live in the now.
Exactly.
On top of maybe that's the answer to this next question, but I'm just wondering, kind of on top of those ever-present Minneapolis City philosophical pillars like no assholes and we're here to win, is there a mantra? Are there any additional philosophies, I guess I should ask, that you might bring to the U19 squad that might be unique across the three teams?
I gotta bring one from Gustavus. It's one I've tutor taught me when I was one of his players in 18, and I've kept as kind of one of my mantras for my life. But we call it above the line, and essentially what it is there's a line, and every event has some sort of reaction. So if your reaction is below the line, you're typically bringing up something negative and unhelpful. But if you can challenge yourself to make every reaction above the line, you're essentially making yourself better, making every moment better, making your teammates better, the environment better, all of that.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, it's a clearer way to talk about that, no assholes policy,
yeah.
right? It's like, it's not just, you can be competitive on the field, and you can go at guys as hard as you can, but once you come off, make sure you're contributing positively to the culture and to the team.
Yeah, exactly. I personally, I love the no asshole policy. I think the above the line gives you a little bit of wiggle room too when you need to be direct and a little bit real with some guys sometimes too.
Yeah, for sure.
You can be a dick sometimes, but you can't be an asshole.
Yeah.
Just look at our friends, the Oliver twins.
Oh my God.
like they walk that line probably as razor thin as you can get it.
They live the line.
They live the line, right? but like they're the people that if you're gonna go to battle, you kind of want them on your side.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But they're gonna tell you how real it is, and as soon as the whistle blows, they're gonna be like, "All right, let's be friends again." So I fully believe you, and I agree with you. And I'm gonna use the above the line thing and below the line thing in my day job. So thank you for that.
Yeah, that helps.
John and I covered it all summer with Crows in college, but when you look around, there are city players and city staff coaching all over the place, especially in the MIAC. What is it, Scotty, about Minneapolis City that either A, attracts players that have what it takes to be good coaches one day, or B, maybe incubates a passion for coaching and gives them an idea of the right approach so they can kind of go on to be coaches themselves?
I got to say it's completely the culture, like between MVB and Adam and John and Prunty when he was coaching us at MC2 and Carl, everybody around, like it's totally you love the game and we're here to improve, but also a bit of a recognition that there's a whole bunch of stuff going on in all of our lives. So to kind of forfeit that and give it to City for whatever time you're there is part of a realization that you're giving up something for something you truly care about and something that you want to make better. And I think that's pushed so many people to continue this, whatever soccer journey in whatever sense it is for each individual to keep pushing in the best way they can.
You say that now until you have to do the team's laundry.
Hold on. That wasn't in my contract.
Whoa.
Yeah, like, hey, I mean, we've all done it. I'm just saying, it's a real humbling experience when you have to pull a bunch of guys' dirty laundry out of a wet bag so that they're nice and crisp, so they look good and feel good, for the next game. Play good,
look good. That's the Jonah Garcia mantra. Look good, feel good.
Yep.
Yuck. Scotty, I guess you are stepping into a job that is new programming for the club. And I'll tell you why. You're dealing with lots of high school kids. Nobody really, I mean, there was a time when we had 2 high school kids, Steve and Will Kidd, and then it's kind of, they've grown and, it's kind of funny. You can integrate them a little easier when you've got a bunch of adults that can show them the ropes and haze them a little bit. I'm just kidding. We don't get hazed, but just like now you've got a lot of high school age kids. What do you need to approach differently this spring and summer from, usually what you do in the college season? And how do you make sure these kids are going to grow and develop as best as possible for where they're at?
I think the structure of the club is very integral to kind of answer this question. I mean, with how we run from top to bottom, it's totally a professional setting in terms of, unprofessional people, but in a professional setting, we take ourselves seriously. And it's, if we expect you to come here and do your part, listen, give your best effort. And if you don't want to, a good chance there's another high school kid that will. So
yeah,
it's a little bit, drown or swim, but at some point it's gotta be. So I'm full on board on that. And, I'll help kids along the way, but as soon as I see someone that I feel doesn't want to be there, like, we'll find the next guy.
So Scotty, last question for you. If current or futures players, that's kind of hard to say, futures players, 16 to 18 or their parents are listening right now, what is your elevator speech about the benefits of the new club endeavor for kids development? We'll call them kids still. And what can the fans expect from not Scotty the player, but Scotty the manager this summer?
The pathway forward. There's always up with this U19 group in terms of the 21s. I very much think of this job as to be a home for players, but at the end of the day, a ladder towards the next step. A big part of this UPSL league will also be these kids playing against, mid-20s, later 20s-year-old guys who have fully understood how they can play the game and what their strengths are, and aren't going to be wasting energy and touches cleaner and all this kind of extra stuff you learn with, 6, 7, 8 years on hand. And in terms of what my managerial style looks like, it's kind of, if you can kind of pick up on what I've said through a bit of this call, it's a lot of self-responsibility where you're going to have to buy into this group. We're going to want to build with the ball and take risks and be kind of a classy possession team, but also be aware that we got to go win the game sometimes. So not be afraid to be a little bit direct, but also know that, there's a bit of a style to this game, and you can play with a bit of a style and a little bit of a swagger that allows you to do what you want to do and make kind of nicer goals and get to better shapes and whatnot, and ultimately prepare them for the next level, push them to play at the next level, regardless of whether it's U21 at cities or college or overseas or wherever they want to be. It's pushing them further.
I like how you put it, Scotty, with calling them 20, 26, 28-year-olds that are more mature in their game. I believe, what did I call it when I led the session a few weeks ago? This won't work playing against grown-ass men this summer.
Yeah. Yeah.
And hopefully you know what? Some kids came back after that session, so I didn't discourage anyone. But I think that a healthy mix of the way you said it and maybe a little bit of the way I said it, I think is perfect.
Yeah, I mean, the college game is changing too. If you look at the D1 landscape, transfers are coming in that are mid-20s. So it's a skill that you need to learn to have. It's
mid-20s with an accent, and they played pro somewhere like for 4 years of their life already.
Jeez.
It's different, but it's, if we're gonna compete with the Portuguese guy, if that's 25, you gotta learn how to play with them early.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta make sure the guys can communicate that too as they're talking to coaches, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it should be a big strength of theirs in terms of their college search.
Wow. Well, Scotty, man, this has been a great chat. I think, you sound like you're absolutely the right man at the right time in the right job at Minneapolis City. Very, very happy to have you back with the club in a coaching coaching standpoint, but hopefully we'll see you out on the field this summer as well. Gonna be a lot of Scotty Heinen either on the touchline or on the pitch. So that would be really cool. Thanks for spending the time again with us, and good luck. You've got your work cut out for you with these 16 to 18-year-old kids, man.
Yeah,
I don't think they're short on swagger. I'll tell you that.
I'm excited for the challenge. Absolutely.
All right, thanks a lot, Scotty. We'll see you in a week of training.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Yep.
All right, see ya.
All right, bye.
That'll do it for this week's show. Thank you to our wonderful show sponsor, footballstadiumprints.com. Our friends at footballstadiumprints.com are always expanding their soccer-focused t-shirt designs, their prints, and more. Don't forget to use the code CROWS10 for 10% off everything you purchase. And all U.S. orders are shipping right here from the States, so there's no international shipping charges. Did I tell you I got the couple new shirts? I got the Ibsen shirt.
Yeah, I did hear that.
Yeah, and the Jesus Saved shirt. I love it. As a reminder, Minneapolis City is a 501c3, so you can feel good that your membership doubles as a charitable donation to a club that does good as well. Memberships for the 2024 season are on sale. Make sure you cement your seat in the stands and get some sweet swag, all for a price that I think just destroys other clubs' price of entry. Head to MinneapolisCity.com, MPLSCitySC.com, and get yours today. And remember, you can always find us on Twitter X at The People's Pitch. And you can even email us if you have any questions or topics you want covered on the show at mcscpodcast@gmail.com. And of course, you can also connect with the club itself at MPLS City SC. That is all for this week. I'm Nate. That was Scotty Heinen, and of course, John. We will be back with more in the coming weeks, talking to more folks who are spending the offseason getting the club ready to compete at all levels this summer. And
got hooked.